Top 5 best rice for diabetics should eat. You've probably heard that white rice isn't great for anyone watching their blood sugar. That's because it's been stripped of fiber, vitamins, and minerals, leaving mostly starch that raises your glucose fast. Meanwhile, brown rice might look healthier thanks to the bran and germ it retains, but it still has roughly the same amount of carbs as white rice, and sometimes even carries traces of arsenic. All that adds up to a big headache for anyone working to keep their diabetes under control. If you rely too heavily on those traditional rices, you might face higher risks of complications or difficulty maintaining healthy glucose levels. That's where these 5 alternatives come in. Number 1. Quinoa. Let's begin with quinoa, which is often called a superfood, and for good reason. Unlike white rice, which is almost entirely starch, quinoa has a more balanced nutrient profile. 1 cup of cooked quinoa provides fiber and protein along with its carbs, which means your body digests it slower and doesn't spike your blood sugar as rapidly. It's also packed with magnesium to help with insulin sensitivity and potassium for heart health. The glycemic index for quinoa hovers around 53, which is considered low, especially when compared to white rice at around 73. It also has resistant starch that feeds healthy gut bacteria, and it's a complete protein, meaning it carries all the essential amino acids your body can't produce on its own. Quinoa comes in a few varieties, like white, red, and black, each with its own slight differences in taste and texture. You'll want to rinse it well before cooking to remove any bitter coating. Then simmer it like rice for roughly 15 minutes with about 2 cups of water for each cup of quinoa. Feel free to swap it in wherever you'd normally use rice. Add veggies and lean proteins to keep the meal balanced, and aim for portion sizes of about half a cup cooked if you're really watching your carb intake. Studies show that quinoa can help regulate blood sugar and insulin, so if you're looking for a tasty, nutritious swap, this might be it. Number 2. Freekeh. Next, let's look at Freekeh, a unique grain made from young green wheat. It's roasted, cracked, and full of flavor, not to mention fiber and protein. 1 cup of cooked Freekeh can clock in around 8 grams of fiber and 8 grams of protein, much higher than what you'd get from white or brown rice. That slows digestion, stabilizes your blood sugar, and keeps you feeling full. Its glycemic index is in the low 40s, which is good news for anyone trying to avoid big glucose swings. Freekeh also contains resistant starch, magnesium, and zinc, so it's not just about blood sugar, it's about overall metabolic health. You might come across whole Freekeh or cracked Freekeh. Whole Freekeh is chewy and works well in stews and pilafs, while cracked Freekeh cooks faster, making it handy for salads or quick meals. Either way, you generally rinse it first, then cook it for anywhere from 15 to 25 minutes. Because Freekeh is made from wheat, it isn't gluten-free, so you'll need a different option if you have celiac disease or gluten sensitivity. Otherwise, it's a fantastic grain to rotate into your routine in place of rice. If you love nutty, smoky flavors, give Freekeh a shot. Just remember to keep an eye on your portion sizes. Number 3. Farro. Now let's move on to farro, another whole grain that retains its bran and germ. This means you get a good dose of fiber, somewhere around 5 to 6 grams per cooked cup, plus about 6 to 7 grams of protein. Both of these nutrients help slow digestion and keep your glucose levels on a more even keel. Farro also has a fairly low glycemic index, likely in the 40 to 45 range, and it contains resistant starch and antioxidants that can lower inflammation. You'll find different kinds of farro, like emmer, spelt, or einkorn, but emmer is the most common. You can buy it whole, semi-pearled, or pearled. Whole farro takes the longest to cook but has the most fiber. Pearled farro cooks in closer to 15 or 20 minutes. Once it's done, you end up with a chewy texture and a nutty flavor, which goes great in salads, soups, or stir-fries. Just remember to keep your portion to about half a cup if you're watching carbs. Also, like Freekeh, farro is not gluten-free, so you'll need to keep that in mind. Still, if you can handle gluten and want a low-glycemic, fiber-rich substitute for rice, farro is worth adding to your kitchen lineup. Now let's pick things back up with number 4. Shirataki Rice. Unlike typical grains, it's made from the root of the konjac plant, which contains a special kind of fiber called glucomannan. Since your body doesn't digest glucomannan the same way it digests starch, you end up with a rice-like product that has virtually no net carbs. That means it won't jack up your blood sugar levels. Each serving is also extremely low in calories, often just 5 to 10 per half cup, so it's really helpful if you're aiming to lose or maintain weight. Shirataki rice has a glycemic index close to 0, making it excellent for those watching their glucose closely. The fiber slows down digestion, keeps you feeling full longer, and even feeds healthy gut bacteria. Another perk is how ridiculously easy it is to prepare. It generally comes pre-cooked in a pouch that you just rinse and heat. Some people like to pair it with lean proteins and veggies for a quick stir-fry, or use it as a side with curry or low-carb sauces. Because it has almost no flavor on its own, it soaks up whatever ingredients you add, which makes it super versatile. Keep in mind that because it's so low in carbs and calories, you might need to add something extra to make your meal satisfying, like lean proteins, more veggies, or some healthy fats. If you're new to high-fiber foods, start gradually, because the glucomannan can sometimes lead to bloating or gas if your body isn't used to it. But compared to something like quinoa or farro, shirataki rice is about as low carb as you can get, so it's a solid pick if you need to keep blood sugar in check. Finally, let's talk about number 5, cauliflower rice, another popular option for diabetics. Cauliflower itself is a non-starchy vegetable, so when you process it into rice-sized pieces, you end up with a seriously low-carb alternative. Instead of the 40+ grams of carbs you might see in a cup of white rice, cauliflower rice usually has around 5. It also delivers a bit of fiber, about 2 grams per serving, and offers vitamins like C, K, and folate. Because cauliflower has a glycemic index close to 0, you don't get wild spikes in blood sugar after eating it. Cauliflower rice is especially tasty if you sauté it briefly with a little oil, garlic, and your favorite herbs or spices. You can buy it fresh or frozen, or even make your own by grating or pulsing raw cauliflower in a food processor. It works great in stir-fries, as a base for healthy fried rice, or anywhere else you'd typically use rice. Just be aware that cauliflower can cause some bloating or gas if you aren't used to eating a lot of fiber, so maybe start with a smaller portion and slowly work your way up. That's the rundown on the top 5 rice options for diabetics. If you're ready to move past white and brown rice, give quinoa, freekeh, farro, shirataki rice, or cauliflower rice a shot. Each one helps you keep your glucose levels steadier, and they all bring something a little different in terms of flavor and texture. You can mix and match, too, to keep your meals interesting. Just remember to watch portion sizes and balance your plate with lean proteins, healthy fats, and plenty of vegetables. If you have any questions or favorite recipes using these alternatives, let us know in the comments. And don't forget to subscribe for more tips on making delicious diabetes-friendly meals. Also, make sure to check out the link in the description to watch a short free presentation about a natural way that can help lower your blood sugar. Take care and enjoy exploring these new options.